Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Folks, these lefties out here just can't handle the truth. I mean, that's just a fact. Whether you want to call it delusion, cognitive dissonance, whatever you want to call it, they voted for an old, rotting potato as president. It seems as though literally everything has gone to crap since he's taken office. And when the mainstream left-wing media tells the truth and actually reports on the reality that is the current state of Democrat politics, which is not looking too good ahead of 2022, Democrats lose their minds. I mean, we talk about this concept of fake news a lot, but in the modern day, Democrats are literally dependent on it. They don't want to be told the truth. They want their worldview, they want their political delusions to be reinforced by talking heads in suits on the TV. When things are going bad, they want to be told that everything is so good. I mean, frankly, it's historically good. When their guy Joe does something, they want to be told that it was actually somehow Donald Trump's fault and that Joe is just cleaning up the mess. They don't want to acknowledge reality. They don't want to confront reality. And when they do, when they're forced to, when the mainstream media confronts them with actual reality and the truth, well, the reaction is as follows and as predictable as ever. And so that's exactly what's happened here with MSNBC's Chuck Todd, who merely questioned Joe Biden's age, as well as the rest of the Democrat establishment, and now calls to cancel and fire Chuck Todd have already started. Liberals across the Twitter platform are losing their minds. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on, but of course, before we get into any of it, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We are still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. And with that out of the way, let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so take a look at this. MSNBC's Chuck Todd says Democrats don't want to deal with questions about Biden's age.
Done has not been good for the country. So
look, it is a fair point. I mean, this brings up we don't want to chase folks out. At the same time, I do understand why there's some cynicism. I mean, the Democratic Party right now, its entire leadership structure, Chuck Schumer, Dick Durbin, number one and number two, both over the age of 70. All three leaders in the House, 70 or 80. The President of the United States, Kamala Harris, is the youngest of the elected leadership. And nobody else, she's the only one under 70.
Now, before we go into the liberal reaction, I want to ask you, what was wrong about what Chuck Todd said there? Absolutely nothing. I mean, he just gave a very benign opinion, and frankly, he's absolutely correct. The Democrat establishment is old, withering away, and completely out of touch. It's funny because I thought the Democrat Party was the party of the young and the hip and the progressive. Then when people within their own little political ecosphere, Chuck Todd from MSNBC, question the age of their leadership, the liberal reaction is essentially, how dare you? Take a look at these Twitter responses. Chuck Todd said Democrats don't want to confront Biden's age. Biden is only 4 years older than Trump, but Chuck never asked Republicans to confront Trump's age. Chuck also said Biden doesn't have a loyal fan base, but Biden received the most votes in presidential history. Fire Chuck Todd. Chuck Todd talking about Biden's age and not Don Jr. trying to steal the election is a very Chuck Todd thing to do, which is why I don't ever watch him. See what I mean by liberals just want to be watching TV that's reinforcing their worldviews or their conspiracy theories? How dare Chuck Todd be talking about anything other than Donald Trump Jr.? Meanwhile, Hunter Biden, but let's not even go there. Chuck Todd claims President Biden doesn't have a loyal fan base. Give me thumbs up and retweet if you're a loyal Biden fan. Chuck Todd is a pathetic bozo who isn't even qualified to be the towel boy at a car wash. I recently switched to MSNBC from years of only CNN. So please forgive me if this question is a duh question, but I need to ask, is Chuck Todd always this bad? I recently switched to MSNBC from CNN, as if it's somehow a prescription or something, somehow a different operating system on your computer that you're just switching from Windows to Linux. But considering how these networks are programming these people's brains, well, it essentially is. Chuck Todd is a poor host, interrupting constantly. He should go work for faux news. Chuck Todd claims that President Biden does not have a loyal fan base. WTF, Todd has no fan base. So why is he even on the air? I have never seen or heard of anyone say that they like Todd or think he is good. At MSNBC, at NBC News need to fire Chuck Todd ASAP. Chuck Todd says Democrats don't want to confront Biden's age. Also that Biden doesn't have a loyal fan base. How can both of those statements be true? I mean, the implication here that those are somehow two mutually exclusive concepts is some real half-baked stuff, but, well, if we take a closer look, I guess it checks out. And the next Twitter trend that started, does anyone else think that Jen Psaki would make a perfect replacement for Chuck Todd? Jen Psaki should replace Chuck Todd on Meet the Press. Dear MSNBC, Jen Psaki would be an outstanding replacement for Chuck Todd. Just saying. My brain is melting. Essentially, the premise is, how dare you question Joe Biden's age? The guy's about to turn 80, an octogenarian. He literally turned around and shook hands with air like 2 days ago. And it's somehow an outrageous concept to even confront or question Joe Biden's age? Or Nancy Pelosi, who seems at times equally as incoherent? Or Dianne Feinstein, which colleagues are now worrying that Dianne Feinstein is now mentally unfit to serve, citing recent interactions. Yes, an absolutely crazy concept. To confront that it seems as though the average age of Democrat leadership is like 75. I wouldn't trust a 75-year-old to give me a lift to the grocery store, let alone run the damn country. But Democrats are so deluded, so blind, so partisan that they're willing to overlook all of this stuff. They were so convinced by all of the anti-Trump, Donald Trump hysteria, they deluded themselves to such an incredible degree that they convinced themselves that voting for Joe Biden was a good idea. I mean, we're talking crazy. They're so partisan, it's such a cult, a vote blue no matter who cult. At times, it's literally unbelievable. Conform to the group, conform to the collective, or else. Here's actually a great example from Bill Maher.
Higher and higher. Now, we found out recently that something like, I'm going to get the number wrong. Maybe you can look it up on your magic light box, but like 20%, I think, of the unemployment checks we passed out during COVID were complete fraud.
A mere pittance.
The PPP.
Yeah, oh my God. So many people got arrested for having Lamborghinis and shit.
Right.
Billionaires out there. We need to tax them all.
If I'm complaining about that, again, to your point about a Republican idea, people would say, you're complaining about government spending money. And my answer is, okay, but is there any number at which point I am not tipped over into the Republican side?
Right.
That I can't complain about money that is just being stolen.
Left-wingers getting mad at Bill Maher for pointing out the fact that 20% of distributed COOF relief funds were done fraudulently, taxpayer dollars being stolen, and somehow there's outrage over Bill Maher confronting that topic. If you question or confront anything that the Democrat Party or Democrat leadership does and says, you are automatically a traitor, and the Twitter outrage ensues with calls to have you fired or replaced. Nuts, I mean crazy. But you know what, at the end of the day, if Democrats want to do this to themselves? Well, the Republican voter base is trying to clean house and get rid of people like Mitch McConnell, all these ancient rhino fossils, draining the swamp, so to speak. Democrats are holding on, latching on to legacy, fossil establishment Democrats, with now reports of Adam Schiff vying to be the next Speaker of the House. And what happens to a business that refuses to change, refuses to innovate? Eventually, they phase out into irrelevance. And eventually, hopefully, best case scenario, that's exactly what happens to the Democrat Party. But the idea of this video, the conclusion of this video, Democrats elected this guy.
Because you can't build a wall high enough to keep out a vaccine. The vaccine can stop the spread of these diseases.
And they're still trying to justify it. I mean, talk about cope. And attacking anybody in their party who questions whether or not it was a good idea. Crazy stuff. That's what I got for you guys, though. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe. Share the video as much as possible. We are still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. I'm going to get back to work. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.